Hello, this is Ashley Kennedy with PremiumBeat.com, here to discuss a couple of the many tricks of the trade when it comes to working with transitions in Final Cut Pro. Specifically, we'll be discussing how we can make our own transitions by altering Final Cut Pro's default transitions and saving them out as our own as favorites to apply to other edit points. Let's just briefly review some of the basics about transitions before I delve into some of the tricks that will help you stay creative and save time. So first of all, there are three ways that you can add a transition. The first is to select the edit point, come up to the Effects menu, go to Video Transitions, and then go to the transition that you would like to apply, and it's applied. The second way does not require you to select the edit point first. You just have to click on the Effects tab in the browser, twirl down Video Transitions, and then find the transition that you'd like to apply, and drag it right onto the edit point that you would like to apply it to. And the third way is to click on the transition, right-click, and apply the transition that is listed as the default transition in Final Cut Pro. It starts off being a cross dissolve, but you can change that if you want. So those are the three ways that you can apply transitions, and then, of course, to delete a transition, I can Command click to select multiple, and then press delete, and away they go. So that's great if Final Cut has the exact type of transition that you want, but what if it doesn't? What if you want something more unique to fit your project? Well, that's no problem. You can edit the transition and save it out if you'd like to use it later. So let's go ahead and just apply a transition. In this case, we'll go ahead and apply the dip to color. And by default, a dip to color is a 1 second transition that transitions to black for 1 frame and then back to video. I'll just show you really quick. Okay, so I've got a little montage here, and instead of a dip to color, something that's really popular these days is called a flash to white. So instead of having a 1 second transition, we're going to make it much shorter, and instead of it dipping to black, it's going to come up to white. Okay, so to edit this transition, you just double click on it, and this is now the transition editor window, and there are several parameters here that we can change. The first is up here, and it deals with the duration. Like I said, by default the transition is 1 second. So to make it shorter, it's as simple as just dragging it in, and you can see right under my cursor here that my new duration is 8 frames long, and I think I like that for my flash to white. You can adjust the threshold and softness of your transition, but I think right here the only other adjustment I'd like to make is the color. I'm just going to click on the black swatch, and I can bring this up to get a full color wheel, but I do just want white, so I'm just going to select here. I have a white color here. I'm going to say OK. And so this is now an 8 frame flash to white. Okay, so let's go ahead and play through it and see if we like it. Okay, so I think that works for what we're going for here. And like I said, I have a montage, and I'd like to apply this flash to white in between each of these edit points. So I'd like to save this out and apply it in bulk. To save this transition out, I come up here where I have my little hand icon, and I'm just going to drag it to my favorites. Now I have the dip to color dissolve in favorites, and I'm just going to rename this flash to white. This is now up here in my favorites, and if I go to effects and favorites, you can see that I have my flash to white there as well. Now if I'd like to apply this effect in bulk, I simply select all of the clips I'd like to apply it to, and this is where you have to pay attention because my instinct would be to drag it to an edit point, but that doesn't work. You actually have to drag this to a segment within this selection, and then the flash to white, or whatever transition you've made, is applied to every single one of the edit points in your selection. If you apply it to the edit point, it doesn't work. It would only go to that one edit point. And we'll see how this looks. Okay, now this is really only for demonstration purposes. This footage really doesn't lend itself to this type of transition too well, but you get the idea. Now, let's say that I wanted to amend this transition. If I wanted to alter my 8-frame flash to white and turn it into, say for example, a 12-frame flash to white, you can do that by simply highlighting all of the clips that it's applied to. And if I come up here and just make a change, and I'm going to make it a 12-frame flash to white, and once I've made the adjustment, I would just drag this down to a segment, and then the change is made to all of the transitions within that selection. If I wanted to also change it out from my favorites, I would have to come over, drag it to my favorites. I'm just going to call this flash to white 12-frame, and just to differentiate, this is going to be 8-frame. And just so you know, if I come to the effects menu and under favorites, I have both my 12-frame and my 8-frame flash to white. It does give each one of these a shortcut, and as I keep altering effects and saving them out as favorites, this list will just keep growing and more keyboard shortcuts will be assigned to them. Okay, so this was just a very simple, quick transition alteration. I do encourage you to go in and customize your transitions however you like and save them out as favorites. So really, the sky's the limit as far as what you can do with customizing your transitions. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this demo, and as always, I hope it's clear you don't have to work with the defaults. You can do whatever you want and save it out as your own. Remember, there are more exciting video tutorials coming soon, so be sure to check back regularly for other screencasts where we explore exciting techniques in Avid and Final Cut Pro. This is Ashley Kennedy with PremiumBeat.com.